would Kirby Smart be where he is today without coaching under Bobby Bowden, Mark Richt, Nick Saban? Would he be? Would he be the? Would Georgia have had the success it's had under Kirby without his time with those guys? Uh, I would add, that in my opinion, he's driven enough to put himself in position to be with those guys. I mean, you're talking about the guy who's won more ball games in the first 8 years of his career than anybody in college football history. That's Kirby Smart. Would he be where he's at right now if he had not had that time with with Nick and Mark and Bobby Bowden? I don't I don't know. Part of me thinks that he would have success no matter what because we're the same. He's a little bit older than me. We're basically the same age though. I've seen him for a long time. Before he was a head coach, the time he was at Georgia, the way he recruited Noshawn, the way he was with the running backs. I mean, he had a really good running back room, by the way, in 2005 with Craig Lumpkin and Thomas and Danny Ware. I mean, he had really good running back room. They were older, and they knew what they were doing. He had DJ Shockley in there with him a lot. Um, so I think Kirby's ability to be a sponge should not be underrated, just for the record. But there's no question, particularly his time with Nick at Alabama, was critically important to where he's at today. It is impossible to take someone who is in their Kirby's not quite 50 yet. I think it's impossible to take someone who's in the sort of heyday of their career and suggest they're not influenced by people that were their coaches, that were their mentors, that were their professors, their fathers, whatever order you want to go in there. And I think for Kirby, he put himself in a wonderful position to be able to take advantage of what Bobby Bowden had to say and Mark Richt and then Nick. But he totally would be successful. I just think it might have been a different path. Here's what he said to the people at the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Peach Bowl, sorry. He said, having coached with Bobby Bowden, Mark Richt, Nick Saban, coached alongside some other greats that are now head coaches all over the country. Probably the biggest thing to me is the relationships I have with those people. They kind of shed light on my career and helped me. Nick Saban was tremendous. My father was tremendous to impart knowledge. It's really cool at these events because you get to sit around and share knowledge with each other, with other guys that are your peers. And as you grow as a coach, and I said it was the Peach Bowl. They always have this golf thing. Dan Mullen's there. Shane Beamer, Dan Mullen. It doesn't. I mean, it's a bunch of people. And if you're a head coach, particularly in the SEC, you've been successful. Whether you win or not, perhaps that has. But you've been successful. People can say what they want about Shane Beamer, and I've had plenty of stuff to joke around about Shane Beamer about. Shane Beamer's successful. He's been successful as a coach. But he is what he is, right? I mean, James Franklin. There are guys that. I mean, is James Franklin successful? I think he's successful. I think he's full of shit, but he's successful. So, Kirby. I mean, I said James Franklin was. I mean, a lot of these coaches / all of them really are, but James Franklin more than most. I do want to touch on what Kirby was talking about with his father. My father was not a coach, and I don't know what that's like, but I would imagine it would be something else because you would probably constantly be around, ball, and my coach in college, one of the two coaches I had for the two different sports, his son did play in basketball in college, just at a different institution, thank God, because that would have been something else. But you could see how he was with Jeremy the whole time. And, Kirby's father probably, I would think, now I don't know, would be as invested as anybody out there because of, I mean, the guy changed his diapers, and he has, put, I can't imagine he didn't put every single bit of knowledge he could into Kirby Smart's brain. Kirby's a very smart person. He's very intellectual. He's very smart. He's got serious firepower up there. And, I remember after the 2020 Tennessee game when he went for it at his own, I think Georgia was at their own 29-yard line or 31, whatever it was. Maybe the 30-yard line was the line to reach. I think it was, now that I think about it. And they went for it. Like, he had the better team. He was kind of, I wouldn't say he was panicking, but that was a panic move. And he said, my dad's not going to be real happy about that one. So he probably immediately thinks of, what would my father, Sonny, have to say about this? And, Mark Richt, his father was around a lot in Athens. People, I don't know if they realized how much his father was around, but he was consistently around. But, Kirby, there's something in the way he's wired, is always forward. The way I've seen it, he's always on the front foot. He's always aggressive. He's always forward. And, that is usually in your blood. That's usually in your blood. But he is, there's no way he's at this particular point without the particular journey he took. And I think that it's always interesting to see him reflect back because, now we've got Dan Lanning, but there's other, Dan Lanning, Shane Beamer, you had Mel Tucker. You're going to have, now you got Del McGee. I'm leaving out Sam Pittman. There's going to be a lot of folks that leave Georgia after a career. Glenn Schumann is going to go somewhere. I don't know where that will be if Dabo were to leave in the next couple of years. I would imagine Glenn Schumann will get a real hard look at Clemson. And, I'd be curious to see how that would go. I don't think it would be just some massive drop off. So you learn along the way. The people that were important to me, I'm not going to mention them because you don't know who they are in this world. Unfortunately, I didn't get as much help from folks as you would think or like. But at the same time, the path that you go on is very important. And for Kirby, in 2005, there's still, and I'll try to get it up on the screen, there's still an image I have of Kirby from 2005 leaving the locker room for the SEC championship game that night against LSU, or that afternoon. I can't remember. I feel like that game might have been later than it was. It was probably a 4:00 game, to be honest. And it was him and Mike, and if I remember it correctly, and both were very young guys in their career, and I'm sure they both would have loved to eventually have been the head coach at Georgia. One of them was, and had tremendous success. But we're all the time. There is, I guess, circumstantial. There are circumstantial things. I can't tell. I'm gonna put it on the screen. That's not Mike. I can't tell, but this is Kirby Smart. Look how young he looks. Oh my God. This is baby Kirby. This is Kirby coming out of the home locker room at the SEC championship game. No, for the Sugar Bowl, excuse me, in 2005. And this is, Kirby in 2005 with his running backs right here at G-Day. You'll have to adjust your monitor. There he is with the visor. And here he is with John Jancic just before the championship game. Look how those pants are seriously laundered right there. I mean, like, that is a serious crease in those pants. He was very young. And John Jancic was at Georgia under Kirby. what are they called? As not a GA, but someone works with the program. He's always been intense, man. I mean, like, this is not new. All this stuff is not new. These are exact. I mean, this guy's the same exact guy. Like, it's not different. All of the all of these mannerisms. That's Josh Lee back there. He worked with Kirby for an extended period of time at Georgia before being let go. Here he is with Nick, right when he started at Georgia. And then he had been with Nick, I think, at LSU, unless I'm going crazy. Here's Neil Callaway, all Alabama guys. 3 guys who would have, important times at Alabama. All of this was Kirby's journey. All of these, moments were Kirby's, were moments with Kirby Smart trying to figure out how to become, sort of a better player, a better coach. A better coach. Todd Blackledge with Mark Richt. These shoes. Everybody's got the same shoes on. It's bizarre. The Dawg's coming onto the field. I've just gotten kind of in my own world here. But I think, when you think about this was probably the play of that game, Brian McClendon right here on a soft photo. George Sidelin's not reacting. He is blocking that kick, and they score with DJ like a couple of plays later. Brant Sanderlin had a great image of that after the game. Here's Coach Rick with I can't believe we just did that. They didn't just beat LSU. They beat their skulls in. Here's Shock, Kedrick Golston, Ryan Schnitzer in the background. For those of you with him on your bingo card for today's, I should just do random games, but random names sometimes to do a bingo card. Tim Jennings from Orangeburg, right there. There's Roddy. Y'all, people who know him, that's Roddy Nabolzi. You can't see. Yeah, you can. This is Roddy. I'm almost certain that is Roddy. No, that might not be Roddy. I'm almost certain that's Roddy Nabolzi right back here. I'm almost certain. I'm not 100% certain. But those were all of these moments were moments where Kirby Smart was developing. Here's Brian McClendon right down here, the bottom left hand corner. These were all moments when Kirby was becoming who he would become at Georgia, as the head coach. And all of this time, this one. Let me just put this fabulous duo up here. One of these guys is probably going to win a Super Bowl as a head coach one day. And you can do the math on that. You never know who is being developed into the next, sort of big thing. And I can assure you, if you saw Nick Saban at Kent State, you would not have thought, this guy is going to be the greatest head coach in college football history. But he has been. And, here's Nick here's Nick and Lane Kiffin in Athens in 2015. Same thing with Mark Richt in 2015. That was a massive pour down rain situation. Here they are. This Kirby and Ness too small to see, but Nick's. We all age. I mean, Nick looks great there, and these were the beginning times for him. Well, all of these won't be. I'll get to the LSU time, but everything, all of this. Here's Nick with David Pollock. He was with the Dolphins at the time, Nick Saban. But him and Mark Richt, after that wild game at LSU in 2003, wild game at LSU. Here he's Nick bringing the Tigers out in Baton Rouge. But all of these times and moments are a slow process to getting to championship moments. This was more than 10 years ago now with Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game in 2012, where Bama went on to win the national championship. By the way, I know people make fun of Alabama a lot about some of these national championships, they actually claim a national championship in which they lost the national championship bowl game. Like that, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew they had some crazy ones, but like that one the other day, I was like, really? Like y'all lost the game to the other number one team, and you claim the national championship? That wouldn't happen at Georgia because they don't claim anything. But like seriously, that game, come on, y'all.